Let's bring in Greg Simons. He's in Dhaka in Bangladesh. He's a Russia politics analyst and a professor of armed conflicts and journalism at Daffodil International University there in Bangladesh. It's a pleasure to have you on, Greg. Let's just start, because there's several ways of looking at these attacks. I want to start with the physical damage, actual damage done, the planes destroyed. How much do you think that will hurt Russia?
I don't think it really hurts Russia's military operations. After all, I mean, this is primarily a ground war. It's not an air war. I mean, this is going to be perhaps, rather than physical damage, it might cause psychological damage more. But in terms of any kind of effects and what's happening in terms of trends and processes in the Ukraine war, it's unlikely, and it's more than likely going to elicit a rather harsh and targeted response like what happened recently after Putin's helicopter was targeted.
Now, you touched upon the point I was about to come to next, because Ukraine reportedly put a lot of effort into this, about around a year and a half reportedly, in planning and carrying out multiple attacks. We're focusing on the one where they seem to do the most damage. So they obviously thought it was worth the time and effort. Now, the damage done in terms of psychology and reputation, Ukraine showing that it could infiltrate Russia and to hurt Russia deep in its own territory. What is the damage, if any, done there?
I mean, this is primarily a measure of activity rather than a measure of effect. So what I'm saying about that, the fact that they have some kind of activity to show that there is some kind of progress, although this would, I would say, would be deceptive, because it's not going to change the outcome of the war, rather than a measure of effect that it does something which has a major effect rather than the effects which you see on TV. So, I mean, in this regard, I mean, it's not a coincidence in terms of the timing and the attacks. I mean, you've got these talks tomorrow. So I think this is very much some political positioning before the actual things, the negotiations begin.
And I mean, that's exactly the next point that I wanted to make, because Russia launched more than, something we haven't talked too much about, Russia launched more than 400 drone and missiles on Ukraine last night. So it was busy itself. That represented one of Russia's biggest attacks on Ukraine. So you've got both sides really ramping up their military assaults the night before what are considered to be considerable talks, a step forward, if nothing else, in Istanbul coming up. So is this about trying to maximize leverage, at least in terms of perception, if nothing else?
Yes, I mean, it's more this political and psychological leverage, an attempt to, I mean, it's like a boxing match, if you like. You're trying to psych out your opponent. And so in this case, on the battlefield with these different attacks. And of course, if we look at it, Russia does possess the advantage in terms of the ability to escalate. I mean, Ukraine might have used a great deal of its resources that it has had and which it was able to accumulate. So, I mean, we will see probably tonight or by tomorrow morning what will be the results and consequences of this particular attack.
And just very quickly, Greg, we've got under 1 minute left. I just want to ask you, because the accusation is Russia doesn't really want peace. It's considered to be dragging its heels. Do you think it wants peace?
Russia does want peace, but it wants it on the terms which it has indicated. Ukraine, of course, wants peace, but it is not in a position to dictate. So you have a more powerful one and a less powerful actor. And Ukraine is, unfortunately for Ukraine, on the less powerful side in terms of its military power and capacity.
Greg, it was great to get your insights. Appreciate your time and expertise. Greg Simons, Russia politics analyst there. Thank you.